Good morning.
It is.
So I think about my desires. I think about a beautiful relationship.
We're going to interrupt with one question. When you think about your desires, do your thoughts feel good?
If I close my eyes.
Well, this isn't a hard question. When you think
They
about
do. They do. They feel good.
then you've got it figured out.
What if, I know it feels good thinking about a relationship, but when you go in that direction, you're hurting somebody else. And that doesn't feel good to my inner
Well, then
being.
you're not moving toward what you want. No matter what you're thinking about, if it doesn't feel good to you, then you're off kilter from your inner being. Now you can think all around it until you can isolate what is it that's off. You can jump to all kinds of conclusions about what the reason for it is, but you can tune yourself to the frequency of your inner being on the subject.
And when I tune myself to the frequency of my inner being, it's that feeling of feeling good, that feeling of, say, having a money or a relationship, of feeling like free.
You know what messes it up? Is that when you think about it and it feels good, and then you try to make it be what you want it to be right now, which never feels good because it isn't happening right now. So when you need this thing that feels good to be right now, then it stops feeling good. That's a clue. It doesn't mean that you're not moving toward it. It means that your urgency or your impatience about it unfolding is in your way. Just like that woman screaming about the injustice, whether you're screaming about injustice or whether you're screaming with impatience, you're still offering a hurricane of vibration that's in your way.
Okay, because that's part of the question, because I think I'm moving towards my desire, and then I think I'm blocking.
But here's what we want you to hear from us. Anytime you're feeling good, you're moving toward your desire. Anytime you feel good, you're not in the way of it. And if you've already done the asking and source has already lined it up and is calling you toward it, then anytime you feel good, you are not in the way, you are moving toward it. But then when you start putting conditions on it, like it has to happen right now, and then that condition introduces resistance into the equation in the form of impatience, now you're no longer moving toward it. Now you've slowed it down. Almost everyone, once you want something, you want it and you want it in its fullness right now. That gets in your way. That would be like planting corn in the field and then stamping on the ground because it hasn't come up as a stalk yet. So you just dig it up and eat the kernel of corn. I've had it with you. I don't want to wait. Or you could be basking in the beauty of the garden, and you could be basking in the gestation period, and you could be willing to allow it to unfold in a way that gives you everything that you want, not just some of it. In other words, there's a lot of things you care about, a lot of people that you care about. Wouldn't you like the universe to work it out in the infinite ways that the universe can work it out? Or do you not trust that? You see, we believe that you have the ability to trust it because we can feel everything about whatever it is that you've got going on. That how we choose you is by the power of your desire and your readiness to hear. And so when we pointed at you, you knew immediately. You were in a place of expectation. That's a really good sign. That's a really good sign. That means you are very close to being a vibrational match to what you want. Just don't second guess yourself, and just don't get all demanding of the universe to give it to you on your terms and in your timeline. The universe is giving it to you on your terms and in your timeline, and the better you feel, the more your terms and your timeline will acquiesce to your heart's desire. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me to chill out.
And it's not like you.
You're correct. It's not like me.
Well, deliberate creators are a little that way. The better you get at this, and the more the universe yields to you, the more you expect the universe to yield to you. In other words, it's just a result of being clear-minded about things. But it's not unusual, even though you're clear-minded about a lot of things, to have split energy about a lot of other things. And when you've got split energy, you're slowing it all down. But most important, you see, the phrase that we offered earlier before segment of refreshment is really ideally focused toward you and those like you. When we said, feel the difference between the awesome power of non-resisted thought and the awesome pleasure of non-resisted thought. And you're not letting yourself have pleasure in your non-resisted thought because you're too impatient. And when you're impatient, that's not non-resisted thought. So you keep being impatient, which means you keep being resistant, which means it doesn't get better. You've got to take pleasure in knowing that you figured it out, and take pleasure in your knowledge that you're a deliberate creator, and pleasure in your knowledge of how the universe works. You've got to find a way to feel pleasure in the absence of the manifestation, the full-blown physical manifestation of what you want. You have to take pleasure in the thoughts turning to things part of it. You have to take pleasure in your knowledge of the laws. You have to take pleasure in your understanding of how the energy flows. You have to take pleasure in all the other things that are in alignment for you, you see. And you want to stay off those subjects that make you cranky, or off those subjects that make you impatient. We have this stick pile that we talk about all the time. We say you pick a stick up like a relationship stick, and on one end of it is the relationship as you want it to be, and on the other end of it is the absence of that. And you have a proclivity, you have an end of the stick that you lean toward, and sometimes you lean more toward what you want, and sometimes you lean more toward the absence of it, but you're kind of all over that stick. So what we would say to you is, there are a lot of sticks in this pile, and there are several of them that when you pick them up, you're a vibrational match to what you want. In other words, you're not impatient. And so if there's a stick that matters a lot, that makes you impatient, leave it in the pile and pick up the sticks that don't make you feel impatient. Pick up the sticks that make you feel blessed, that make you realize your power, that make you feel happy, that cause you to feel happy, and let those be the reason that you don't get in the way of what you want. Does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. Humans, we love you so much, but you're like a dog on a bone. You got to get hold of it and not let loose of it. And I'm going to make this happen. 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 And that whole time you're keeping it from happening, because you've got that urgency, that determination, that strong, I'm going to wrestle it to the ground and kill it sort of feeling. That doesn't get you what you want. Soft, easy anticipation of things working out for you. That's what you're reaching for.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Very good.
Thank you.